Now let's look at the program where we are supposed to generate a pattern which is equilateral in nature, but it will have alphabets as well as digits in the entire pattern. I have a pattern which is supposed to be generated for n rows. Now this pattern is supposed to be generated for n rows, where n is the number of rows which the user is going to give you. Now question comes, since we have studied an equilateral triangle, and in that equilateral triangle we have said that R is going to indicate the number of rows, S is going to indicate the number of spaces which are supposed to be generated, C1 is a loop which is going to generate the pattern from extreme left till mid, and C2 is after mid till the extreme right. So if I were to mark these rows and columns, so the rows are controlled by R, the spaces which are in this region are controlled by S, C1 is from left till the mid of this particular pattern, this is your C1, and after mid till the extreme right it will be C2. We have decided these values in the previous contents, and we have concluded that R will always go from 1 to n, S will go from 1 to n minus R, C1 will go from 1 to R, and C2 is always 1 less than C1, so hence I'll say 1 to R minus 1. We have found these values in our previous videos. If you have any doubt, definitely you can have a look at those previous videos. You'll definitely get to know how these values have been attained. We'll proceed with this particular structure with these assumptions that you know the values of R, S, C1, C2. Now, how do I get these values? Basically, by again drawing these entire pattern under some grid structure. If I put a grid around this particular structure, suppose if I've been asked to generate 4 rows, so this is my first row, this is second row, third row and fourth row. Since R will go from 1 to 4, or if n is 4, it will be 1 to n. Now, in this, I'm supposed to have one side as integer values and the other side as alphabets. How do I get this? So here, let's observe this value. When I observe this value, I'll find that it always starts with 1. Hence, let's conclude that K1 is 1 before C1 starts. So before C1 starts, your K1 is always 1. And this K1 has to be of type integer. Now, on the other side, if I ask you to check out the C2 triangle, you are supposed to observe this entire column. When I observe this column, here I'll have this as K2. And here your K2 always begins with a character called as A. So K2 is always equals to A. Now since I'm supposed to assign A to a character variable, so I'll say K2 equals to A. And this K2 has to be of type character. Now question comes, where this has to start? This has to always set the value of K2 before C2 starts. So it is concluded that this pattern is going to be matching with an equilateral triangle. When I say an equilateral triangle, it is going to be generated using 4 loops R, S, C1, C2. R will always go from 1 to n because the tip of the triangle contains minimum number of characters. And the last row contains maximum characters, hence it will end up at n. S is going to be the generating spaces. If you put a grid and draw this entire pattern under grid, you'll find that the first have 3 spaces, the second have 2 spaces, the third has 1 space, and the fourth doesn't have any space. So R, S, C1, C2. So R, S, C1, C2. So when R is 1, your S has to go from 1 and end up at 3 if n is supposed to be done for 4 rows. You observe this. So this is my first space, second space, third space, and the fourth space I'm supposed to print the number. When R is 2, your S has to just move by 2 spaces, 1 to 2. When R is 3, your S has to move by only 1. When R is 4, your S has to be 0. When I check this, I'll say that except the last row, always S begins with 1, S begins with 1. n is 4, 4 minus 1 is 3, 4 minus 2 is 2, 4 minus 3 is 1, 4 minus 4 is 0. So I'll conclude that S is going to start with 1 and up at n minus r. C1 indicates the number of characters which are there on the left hand side. So how many characters are on the left hand side? In the first part, only one character. For the second row, I have 2 characters. For the third row, I have 3 characters. And for the fourth row, I have 4 characters. So it starts with 1, goes till 4. So in general, it will always start with 1. It will end up at R in this case. So when R is 1, it ends up at 1. When R is 2, it ends up at 2. When R is 3, it ends up at 3. When R is 4, it ends up at 4. Hence, C1 will start with 1 and ends up at 4. Now, what are the values of C2? If you observe the number of characters in this, in the first case it is 0 because C2 doesn't have any character. In the second row, it has only 1 character. So, in the third row, it has got 2 characters. In the fourth row, it has got 3 characters. If you observe the first character or the first number of C2, it is 1 except the first one. And what is the last character in this? It is R minus 1. See here, 1 minus 1, 0, 2 minus 1, 1, 3 minus 1, 2, 4 minus 1, 3. So from this table, we conclude that R will go from 1 to n, S will go from 1 to n minus R, C1 will go to 1 to R, and C2 will go from 1 to R minus 1. Even though we have stated this, I have just briefly described these values. The entire description has been said in the previous videos, where we dealt with the equilateral triangles with asterisks. There, we have taken the entire part. You can just check out those patterns. And how to set these numbers and alphabets? Numbers are set by setting K1 equals to 1 before C1 starts and K2 equals to A before C2 starts. Now let's write a program to illustrate this entire concepts. We'll include these header files for our reference. str.h, conio.h. Let's say void main. Now, after this, you're supposed to do the declaration. What are the declaration of the variables? I have variables declared as int, n indicating the number of rows, r indicating the variable which controls the rows, s which will generate spaces, c1 which will print the left hand side of the triangle, and c2 which will print the right hand side of the triangle. Apart from this, we have decided 2 variables k1 and k2. K1 is going to be an integer variable which is going to be there on the left hand side, and K2 is a character variable. So let me put K1 declaration under this and let's declare char K2. Now, first thing which I'm supposed to do is ask the user to enter the number of rows. I'll say how many rows. The user will read these values into n. This is the initial task which you're supposed to do for every pattern. If you have observed all these pattern generation programs, you'll find that the variable declaration might change as per the pattern, but the number of instructions which are used to read the input is going to remain same. You'll ask how many rows and read that value into n. Then I'm supposed to design the entire pattern. Here, if you observe that S, C1 and C2 are going to be a part of R. Your R loop will have all the 3 variables S, C1, C2. Now, question comes, will S, C1, C2 act as nested loops? No. Here, your S, C1, C2 will be independent loops. Now, question comes, what will be the sequence of generation? When R is 1, I am supposed to first do what? Print the numbers, generate the spaces, or print the characters. So here, I am supposed to generate the spaces first. Once the spaces are generated, and then you are supposed to stay with C1, because then I'm supposed to generate left hand side. After left hand side, I'm supposed to do with right hand side. Now let's see the program. So let us see a program of putting this particular entire logic which I described. So I described how these loops are going to work. Which loop is going to be inside which loop. So the first loop is going to be an R loop. Let's write the R loop at this place. Now since I said that R is going to go from 1 to n, so a for loop will have R equals to 1, R less than equal to n, R plus plus. The most common mistake which every student commits is using these brackets. When using these brackets, make sure that you have proper alignments. Now, your R has got multiple instructions, hence we'll have a curly brackets around this particular R loop. Now, once R is set as 1, you have to identify what need to be done next. Am I supposed to print numbers? Am I supposed to print alphabets? or am I supposed to generate spaces? The answer is right. You have to generate what? Spaces. Let's write a loop to indicate how many spaces I'm supposed to generate. I know that spaces are going to be controlled by a loop called as S loop. And this S is going to go from 1 to n minus r. True. So I'll say for generate these spaces. S equals to 1, S less than equals to n minus r, S plus plus. Now when S is moving from 1 to n minus r, what action you want to do on screen? I want to generate one blank space. So I'll say printf a blank space. Here I'm going to use a phi symbol. Don't search for this particular phi symbol on the keyboard. On paper, whenever I wish to represent a space, I'm going to use these characters. When you're writing your answers on the answer paper, make sure that you indicate some character. And later on, you can put this space character in this way. I'll say phi represents a blank space. I'll have phi as a blank space. Now, in this, I have said for s equals to 1, s less than equal to n minus r, s plus plus, printf a blank space. I have a single instructions, hence not necessary to use any curly brackets. I'll not put any curly bracket around this. But once spaces are generated, the next loop which is going to be in action is C1 loop. But we said something, that before C1 starts, I'm supposed to set the value. What I'm supposed to set? K1 has to be set, and as per that your K1 has to set to 1. So I'll set K1 equals to 1. Now once K1 is set to 1, then I'm supposed to start a loop called as C1 loop. So I'll say for C1 equals to 1, C1 less than equals to R, C1 plus plus. Now when C1 is moving from 1 to R, what action you want to do? You want to print the value of, right, K1. So since K1 is an integer variable, I'll use a printf instruction in this fashion. I'll say printf %d, comma. I'll print K1. But if I just say K1, your K1 is set to 1 always. So it will always print 1. So should I change the character? Yes, I'm supposed to change. In that case, you have to go back to the pattern and check what is after 1. After 1, I have a pattern which says 2, 3. So it means that I'm supposed to keep on incrementing the value of K1. Since I'll say K1 plus plus. So I have printf C1, C1 less than equals to 1, C1 plus plus, and printf %d, comma K1. So this will set K1 equals to 1 every time before it starts the printing operation. And then for printing the next character, what it does is it will generate the next character and keep it ready so that when it comes back for the next time, it will print the character and then again changes. Print the character and keep ready the next character. So this loop, entire combination, will print the left hand side of the triangle. It will not print the entire left hand side one stretch, it will print the row wise left hand side. Then I'm supposed to think about the right hand side. What I'm supposed to set before the right hand side? Yes, true. Your K2 has to set to A. So since K2 is a character variable, so your K2 equals to character A. Your K2 will have values which are going to be stored as alphabets. But after K2 has been set to A, I'm supposed to check about C2. Your C2 starts with 1 and ends up at R minus 1. True. So let's write a loop for C2 equals to 1, C2 less than equals to R minus 1, C2 plus plus. And every time I'm supposed to print the value of K2. In this case, K2 is a character variable, hence I'll use a printf in this fashion. I'll say printf %c, comma, I'll say K2. With K1 it is going to be %d because K1 is an integer variable, and with K2 it is a character variable, hence it is %c. Am I supposed to print A always on the row? No. After A, I'm supposed to print even B for the second row. For the third and fourth row, I'm supposed to print the consecutive characters. So it means that K2 should also be incremented, hence again I'll say K2 plus plus over here. Once the entire row has been printed, am I supposed to leave the cursor on the same line or should I get the cursor on the next line? I have to get the cursor on the next line, hence I'll use printf/n and then wind this particular program by using getch and again this particular code. So we have set the entire pattern using these loops. Observe, there are only two pair of brackets, one pair of brackets indicating the begin and end of main and one more bracket indicating the begin and end of R loop. Within this R, I have S, after that K1 has been set to A, after that C1 has started, after that K2 has been set, after that C2 has been started. S, C1 and C2 all have only one character or one instruction. Hence, curly brackets are not necessary. If you venture into the concepts of curly brackets, then they will make the program more complex. Since I don't have multiple instructions, why to unnecessarily spend my extra time or extra number of lines in a program to include these curly brackets? So avoid using these curly brackets for a program which is already lengthy in nature. And at the end of your answer, make sure that you represent this, that wherever you have used a phi, that phi represents a single blank space. So we are going to conclude with this particular note, saying that since it matches with the equilateral triangle, I'll generate it using R, S, C1, C2. R will contain S, C1, C2. S is going to start with 1 to n minus R, C1 is going to start with 1 to R, and C2 from 1 to R minus 1. And your R is going to have 1 to n as its venture. And your R will contain one additional instruction, that is printf/n, because after printing the entire row, I'm supposed to drag the cursor to the next line before R changes its value. Hence, printf/n is going to be a part of R loop. S, C1, C2 are going to be independent loops which are going to work one after another sequentially. And make sure that you assign these K1, K2 and set the values of K1, K2 properly before C1 and C2. That's it about this particular pattern. Thank you.